A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a bold move that could reshape international relations and economic policies, U.S. President Donald Trump announced on Monday that the United States will impose very severe tariffs on Russia if a deal to end the ongoing war in Ukraine is not reached within 50 days. Speaking from the Oval Office alongside NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Trump declared that these tariffs could reach as high as 100% and would specifically target Russia's trading partners in a bid to isolate Moscow economically. Since the onset of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in early 2022, direct trade between the United States and Russia has dwindled significantly. Trump's proposed secondary tariffs aimed to cut off financial support for Moscow from countries that continue to engage in trade with Russia, which has been able to sustain its economy by selling oil to nations like China and India despite Western sanctions. The announcement of these tariffs represents a significant shift in the approach to sanctions against Russia, as lawmakers from both sides of the political aisle in the U.S. are rallying behind a bill that would authorize such measures. While Western nations have largely severed their economic ties with Russia, they have been hesitant to restrict Russia's oil sales to other countries, allowing it to continue generating substantial revenue. In addition to the tariff threats, Trump confirmed that the U.S. would provide military aid to Ukraine, emphasizing that NATO allies, not American taxpayers, would be responsible for funding the weapons. "We're going to make top-of-the-line weapons, and they'll be sent to NATO," he stated, adding that the first wave of military equipment, including a Patriot missile system, would be dispatched soon. This development comes on the heels of the Pentagon's earlier decision to redirect some military aid intended for Ukraine, a move that Trump reversed last week. Despite his promise to swiftly end the war during his 2024 presidential campaign, progress has been slow, and Trump's relationship with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has been marked by tension and mixed messages. During his remarks, Trump expressed disappointment in President Putin, indicating that he had anticipated a resolution to the conflict much earlier. "I'm very disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago," he said. Meanwhile, Zelensky was engaged in talks with U.S. envoy Keith Kellogg to discuss increasing weapons production and arms purchases, focusing on acquiring air defense systems to counter Russian airstrikes. As Trump and Rutte spoke, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius was also in Washington for discussions with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. Germany has offered to finance Patriot systems for Ukraine, highlighting the growing military collaboration among NATO allies in response to Russian aggression. While Trump has set a clear deadline for Putin, the Kremlin's stance remains firm. Russia continues to hold significant territory in Ukraine and has shown no inclination to abandon its military objectives. A Kremlin aide recently conveyed that Putin is open to negotiating an end to the conflict, but only under terms that would see Ukraine cede substantial territory and accept limitations on its military capabilities. The proposed tariffs are part of a broader strategy by the U.S. to pressure Russia economically, while also shifting the financial burden of military support onto European allies. This approach has raised concerns among some NATO members, particularly in light of Trump's aggressive tariff policies, which have led the European Union to warn of potential countermeasures if a trade agreement is not reached by August 1st. Trump has expressed a willingness to engage in further discussions with the EU and other trading partners, indicating that negotiations are forthcoming. "They would like to do a different kind of deal, and we're always open to talk, including to Europe," he remarked during the Oval Office meeting. As the situation continues to develop, the international community is closely watching the implications of Trump's tariff threats and military commitments. The next 50 days could prove pivotal in determining the future of U.S.-Russia relations and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The stakes are high, and the world waits to see how this diplomatic chess game will unfold. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.